So the next resource I want to show you is a general resource for English planning, but it's one that you can definitely use to find activities for English speaking classes. So first I'll just show you where we find the resource, and then I'll show you one of the resources, how to sign up, and how you can access different materials. So once again, we need to start in our shared drives. In the Coppola Valley School folder, into the English folder, and in the curriculum folder, into English resources. And we don't need to go into the speaking folder for this resource because it's a general resource, not just for speaking classes or activities, but for general English planning. So it's definitely a resource you can use in your other lessons, not just speaking, but writing, grammar lessons, pretty much any English class that you need. So just opening up the document, as you'll see, it's got the resource title on the left-hand column, a short description of what the resource is, what things you can find in there, and then in the right-hand column, instructions on how to access the resource. So it'll say if you need to sign up for the resource, sign up for your own account, and how to do that. And there's quite a few that will be useful, not just for English speaking, but for English classes in general. So the resource I want to show you is a website called english.com. And as you'll see, I already have an account and I'm signed in. But if you wanted to sign in, you would just go to sign up and you enter your Coppola Valley email address and password, and you can create an account immediately. So I'll just log in here with my account. There we go. And so this resource is really useful because you can search for resources in a number of ways. You can search by grade. So if you're a third grade teacher like Sarah Animus, you can go to class 3 and you've got different activities related to each class. As you see, I've got some results filtered here. So if you want to search, do a fresh search, you need to remove your filters. And as you see, go to third grade, you can add a filter, which is, let's say, English. And then you see you've got third grade and English filtered, and you've got different English activities you can use. Just going to remove that. You can also search, as you've seen, by subject. So look, there's lots of reading and writing activities. Not so many speaking activities, as you see, but definitely resources that you can use in your English speaking classes, resources that you can adapt. You can also search by topic. So a good one is holidays, looking at different cultural festivals across the world. That's a really good one. We can also search by, I'll just remove holidays from there. You can also search by seasons, which is a topic that we cover. You've got different types of seasons, activities. There's an activity here, for example, that relates to Malala, which is, I know, a story that Susmita has covered for class 5. So that could be an interesting speaking activity also. So this is a really useful resource, and there are plenty of others to look at, but just thought I'd show you this one. Another planning resource that I'd like to share with you is this one called the Speaking Class Resources spreadsheet. So it's a spreadsheet with lots of different resources, some that I've tried to find that are directly relevant to topics or grammar points from the lessons in the annual plans. So again, to find this resource, we need to go to the shared drives, into our Couple of Valley School folder, into our English folder, into the curriculum folder, and in the English resources folder, there's a speaking folder where you can find this spreadsheet called the Speaking Class Resources spreadsheet. And I'll just open it up. And I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see from a bit of a distance. At the bottom, you'll see there are 6 tabs. The first tab is a general tab for activities that might be applicable to any and all classes. So you'll see that there's lots of games and warm-up activities and just general resources that can be used. And so the resource title, much like the previous resource that I showed you, is on the left. Then we've got a column for topics and skills, where it'll show you what kind of topics are included in the resources. So you can see for the first one, for example, it's just general activities and topics, games, warmers. And then there are specific tabs for each class. So as you can see with the class 3, for class 3, we've got topics up to unit 8 that are being taught. There are not all units are covered in this database, but most are. And the resources do take some adapting. You would need to go into the resource and see and try to use the materials to adapt. Don't expect them to be ready to just use in a lesson, at least not all of them. So for class 4 as well, you can see the different units that are being covered. And for class 5, and also for class 6 and class 7. So there are lots of resources for you to be able to access. And so the class tables are slightly different from the general. As you'll see in the general table, you've got the resource title, the topics or skills, the description of the resource, and then you'll have a column for notes, which is just additional information that you might need to access the resource. And then a link. So here is, so you'll just click on the link and it will say what kind of resource it is, whether it's a website. This one's a YouTube tutorial. But with classes, you'll see it's slightly different. In addition to topics and skills, we have a unit column to show you which unit it's related to. And all of these units are directly from the annual plans that are kept in the speaking folder. So I'll just quickly show you an example of one of the resources. So the Kids ESL Speaking Games and Activities resource. And I'll just open it up. So this is a really good resource. As you'll see, it's already clicked on Kids Activities. And if you scroll down, you've just got loads of different activities that you can use for speaking classes specifically. So specific lesson plans and worksheets, role plays, which are really good. And it will show you the different levels, so beginner to advanced. And even if something seems a little bit advanced, it can be, they can be adapted and you can make the language simpler. But this one, for example, looks like quite a lower level, sort of upper primary role play, talking about emotions. So a lot of different activities, definitely worth scrolling through and having a look to see what you can use. You've got stuff on specific grammar points like prepositions and verbs, or topics such as like television and movies, specific lesson plans. And you don't need to sign up. This is just a free resource that you can use.